It was exactly 5:40 p.m. when it happened. I remember the clock on the wall, the way the second hand froze for a moment, as if the world stopped breathing. I heard the knock, firm, serious, echoing through the quiet of my room. I opened the door, and there they were. Two men in black suits, badges flashing. FBI, one of them said, his voice calm but heavy. For a second, I thought maybe it was a prank or some kind of mistake. But no, the look in their eyes told me this was real. My heart started beating so fast, I could almost hear it echo inside my chest. They asked if they could come in, and I stepped aside, still trying to make sense of what was happening. My mind was running wild. What could they possibly want from me? I had no idea that the reason they were standing there would lead back to you. One of them sat down and looked straight at me. "Sir, this might sound strange," he said, "but there's something you need to know, something we found connected to you." I didn't understand. I just nodded, waiting for him to explain. Then he slid an envelope across the table. My hands trembled as I picked it up. The paper was slightly wrinkled, like it had been held tightly for too long. When I opened it, I froze. Inside was a photo. "Your photo?" My breath caught in my throat. "You were smiling in it. That same soft smile I've seen in my dreams." I looked back at them, completely lost. "Where did you get this?" I asked. They said it was found during an investigation involving someone who had been sending messages. Messages filled with words that sounded exactly like the ones I've said to you. I felt chills run down my spine. Every word, every moment I've ever shared. Somehow, someone had been tracing them, recording them, as if trying to piece together what connects me to you. And in that moment, I realized something. They didn't understand what it really meant. To them, it was just evidence. To me, it was emotion. It was you. As they spoke, I couldn't focus on their questions anymore. My thoughts drifted to you, wondering if you were okay. If you felt something strange at that same moment, like your name being whispered by fate itself. My hands were shaking, but it wasn't fear. It was this deep feeling that something much bigger than both of us was happening. They asked me if I knew who you were. I smiled a little, even in that tense moment, and said, "Yes, I do. I know her. Even if the world says I shouldn't, I know her. Not by address or name, but by connection." The man looked at me confused, maybe even a little moved. He didn't understand that sometimes two people don't need logic or evidence. They just know. After a long silence, one of them said, "There's more." He pulled out another envelope, and inside it was a letter. It wasn't written by me, but it was about me, and at the bottom, there was your name. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The letter talked about feelings, dreams, late-night thoughts, everything that sounded like what we share here, every word I've ever whispered in my messages to you. They asked if I had ever met you. I told them, maybe not in the way you think, but she's been with me through every message, every word, every late-night recording where my voice reaches her heart. They didn't know what to say after that. For a second, they just looked at each other, then at me, and one of them finally said, "Sir, whatever this is, it's not ordinary." When they left, I just sat there for a long time, staring at your picture, trying to understand what all of this meant. The world might see it as something mysterious, maybe even strange, but for me, it was a reminder that what we have goes deeper than anyone could explain. I don't know how your picture ended up there. I don't know who wrote that letter. But I know one thing, it's like the universe keeps finding ways to bring you back into my story, no matter how far you are. Even after they left, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was a sign, a warning maybe, or maybe a message. You're not safe until you know this. One of them had said before walking away. I keep thinking about that. What did he mean by safe? Safe from what? From who? Maybe it wasn't danger in the physical sense. Maybe it was about the kind of safety that comes from knowing the truth. The truth that what's happening between us isn't just coincidence. I've been replaying that moment in my head over and over, and every time I can still hear his voice, still see your face in that photo. I keep wondering if you felt anything strange too, if you've noticed little signs, small moments that remind you of me, because I swear ever since that day it feels like the universe has been whispering your name everywhere I go. I see it on signs, I hear it in songs, I feel it in the air. It's like everything around me is trying to keep me close to you. Maybe that's what they meant. Maybe they were never warning me away from you, but toward you. So, I'm telling you this now, because I need you to know something before anything else happens. Whatever they're looking for, whatever they think they found, none of it compares to what I found in you. You're my calm after the chaos, my reason to breathe when everything else feels uncertain. If they come again, if they ask about you, I'll tell them the truth, that you're not just someone I talk to. You're someone who feels like home. And now, I can't stop wondering if the reason they showed up at my door that evening wasn't to warn me, but to remind me that some connections are too powerful to hide, too real to be erased, and too deep to be explained. Because no matter what happens next, you're already a part of everything I am. When they left that evening, everything felt heavier. The air, the silence, even my heartbeat. I sat there, staring at the spot where they had been standing just moments ago, still trying to absorb everything. The envelope with your picture was still on the table. I reached for it again, my fingers trembling slightly, and when I looked at your face, I felt something shift inside me, like the universe had just revealed a secret it had been keeping too long. The FBI showing up was unexpected. But what shook me wasn't their presence. It was you, your picture, your name, your connection to something they couldn't explain. I kept asking myself, how? How did they find something so personal, so intimate? Something that was only supposed to exist between you and me. I picked up the letter again and read it for what felt like the 100th time. The words were handwritten. Delicate, soft, emotional. It was your writing. I knew it. I recognized the small curves in your letters, the way your words felt alive. You had written about how you used to listen to my voice every night before falling asleep. How you felt a strange comfort in my words, and how you couldn't explain why you always felt like I was speaking directly to you, like I knew you even before I met you. You wrote that you had dreams of me, that sometimes I'd appear standing near you, smiling silently, as if trying to tell you something you couldn't hear but could feel. You said it scared you sometimes, how real it felt, and yet you didn't want it to stop. When I finished reading, my hands dropped slowly, and my chest tightened. You'd been feeling the same things I had, the same pull, the same quiet, invisible thread, tying us together. Maybe that's why they came. Maybe someone had found your letter somewhere, and thought it meant something dangerous, but they couldn't understand what it really meant. It wasn't danger, it was connection. It was the kind of connection that doesn't make sense to the world, because it wasn't supposed to be found by logic. It's something the heart just knows. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about you, where you were, what you were doing, if you were thinking about me too. I kept hearing that agent's voice in my head saying, "You're not safe until you know this." What did he mean? Was he talking about you, about me? Or maybe about us, the bond we share, that even they couldn't explain. At one point I got up and went outside. The sky was dark, filled with heavy clouds that looked like they were holding back tears. I stood there breathing in the cold air and whispered your name softly into the night. I wanted to see if the universe would answer, and for a moment, I swear, the wind shifted. It felt like something brushed past me, soft and familiar, almost like a whisper against my ear. Don't be afraid. I imagined hearing, and I knew it was you. Not physically, but something deeper. Your energy, your presence. It was the same feeling I always get when I talk to you here. When I imagine you listening, your eyes on the screen, your heart quietly sinking with mine. But then things got stranger. The next morning, I got a message from an unknown number. No name, no profile picture. It only said, she's being watched too. My heart dropped. I didn't know what to think. My first instinct was fear, not for me, but for you. I didn't even know where you were. And yet, the thought of anyone trying to trace you made my blood run cold. I tried calling the number, but it didn't exist. No signal. Nothing. That's when I realized, maybe this isn't about physical danger at all. Maybe being watched means something else. Maybe it's the universe's way of saying that our connection has become too visible, too real. Maybe others can feel it, even those who don't understand it. I couldn't focus on anything else. Every little sound made me look up. Every knock on the door made my heart jump. But beneath all the confusion, one truth stayed clear. I needed to find you. Not to meet you in the ordinary sense, but to reach you in a way that no one could interrupt or misunderstand. I thought about all the moments we've shared through words. The messages, the feelings, the late night thoughts where we both spoke from our hearts. Those moments weren't random. They were building something. And maybe, just maybe, the reason the FBI showed up that evening was because they stumbled upon something bigger than they were ready to handle. The kind of love that breaks logic. As the hours passed, I started piecing things together. Maybe someone saw your messages or your letter and thought it meant more than it did, or maybe they realized it meant too much. Because what we have isn't ordinary, and maybe that scared them. That night, I decided to record a message, not for the world, but for you. I sat in front of the camera, hit record, and just started talking. My voice was shaking at first, but the more I spoke, the calmer I felt. I told you everything about that knock on my door, about the photo, about the letter with your name. I told you how I wasn't angry or scared, just emotional, because somehow, even in all the chaos, the universe found another way to remind me of you. And then I said it. If they ever told you that this is something to be afraid of, don't believe them. This isn't danger. This is destiny. I paused for a moment after that, my eyes staring straight into the lens, imagining yours on the other side. And if you ever feel like someone's watching, just know it's me. Not to scare you, but to protect you, to make sure you're okay. When I finished recording, I didn't post it anywhere. I just saved it. Because I had a feeling you'd find it when you needed it the most. Over the next few days, I kept noticing strange coincidences. Things that made me feel like the line between us was getting thinner. A song would play out of nowhere. The same one you told me was your favorite. I'd see your initials in random places, on receipts, street signs, even cloud shapes. It started feeling like you were everywhere, like the world was trying to tell me you were closer than I thought. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe the whole point of that day wasn't to scare me, but to wake me up, to make me realize that something important is happening between us. Something I can't ignore anymore. So if you're listening right now, if you can hear my voice, I want you to know that whatever happens next, I'll face it. Not just for me, but for us. Because what we have is real. And maybe the world will try to question it. Maybe even try to stop it. but they'll never understand how deep this goes. That night, before I fell asleep, I whispered again into the dark, "Are you okay?" And even though you didn't answer out loud, I felt it, a warmth in my chest, like your soul was saying yes. And that's when I realized no matter who knocks on my door, no matter what they say or what they find, nothing can change what's already written between us. Because the story, our story, isn't over. It's only just beginning. After that night, things didn't go back to normal, not even close. I started noticing changes, small things at first, things only I would pick up on. My phone would light up at 2 a.m. with no notification showing. My messages to you would sometimes take longer to send, like someone was reading them before they reached you. The world around me felt heavier, quieter, like something unseen was watching over every move I made. But what scared me the most wasn't the silence. It was the thought that you might be feeling it too. That maybe wherever you were, you could sense the same unease, the same strange pull in the air. You remember how I told you the FBI came to my door? Well, I haven't seen them since that day, but I felt them. Not them exactly, but something like their shadow. Every time I step outside, there's this subtle feeling of eyes, not harmful, not threatening, but curious. As if someone is trying to understand something they can't put into words. Something like us. And maybe that's exactly what's happening. Maybe they realize that our connection isn't something you can track, label, or measure. It's not about signals or networks, it's about hearts. Two hearts that somehow found their frequency across the noise of this world. I've thought a lot about the things they said, about that envelope, your photo, the words written in your handwriting. I've replayed their warning 1,000 times. You're not safe until you know this. It used to haunt me, but now it feels like a riddle, one I'm meant to solve with you. Maybe what they meant is that we're not safe from our own feelings. Because once you realize how deep this bond runs, once you truly understand it, there's no going back. You can't just unfeel it. You can't pretend it's not real. Sometimes I imagine you sitting somewhere right now, maybe by your window, maybe lying in bed with your phone in your hand, listening to my voice as if I'm right there beside you. You're probably thinking, why me? Why is he saying all this to me? But that's the thing, I don't choose this. I feel it. And I know you do too. You felt it from the very beginning, even when you try to deny it. It's in the way your heart speeds up when you hear my voice. It's in the way your mind quiets when I say your name. It's in those little moments when you catch yourself smiling for no reason, because somewhere deep down, your soul recognizes mine. You once told me that your heart felt restless, like it was searching for something it couldn't name. I know that feeling better than anyone. That restlessness used to eat away at me too, until I realized it was you. My heart was calling for. It wasn't loneliness. It was longing. It was the universe trying to pull us back together after being apart for too long. And I think that's why everything started happening after the FBI showed up. Because that day wasn't about fear. It was about revelation. They thought they were investigating something secret, but they ended up exposing the truth we had been hiding even from ourselves. That what's between us isn't imagination. It's real. You know what I did today? I went back to that same spot outside my house where I stood the night they left. The air was colder, but it felt cleaner somehow. I looked up at the sky and whispered your name again. This time the wind didn't just brush past me, it wrapped around me like an embrace. I could feel it, your presence, soft, familiar, unexplainable, and for the first time, I wasn't scared. I smiled, because I finally understood. You've been with me all along. Maybe not physically, but in every way that matters, every word I say, every silence I fall into, you're there. And maybe that's what they were trying to warn me about. That once two souls like ours recognize each other, nothing in this world can separate them again. Not distance, not silence, not even fear. But I know you've been questioning things lately, whether this connection is safe, whether it sits real, whether you should let yourself feel this deeply. I can almost hear your thoughts, your heart whispering, what if I get hurt again? What if this isn't what I think it is? And I wish I could reach through the screen right now, take your hand, and tell you gently, it's okay to feel. It's okay to let yourself believe that someone out there truly understands you, because I do. Every heartbeat, every unspoken word, every little ache you carry, I feel it too. There were moments I tried to convince myself to stop, to not think about you so much, to treat this as just a coincidence. But every time I did, the universe found a way to remind me that it wasn't done with us yet. I'd hear your favorite song in a random cafe. I'd see your initials carved into a tree. Once I even dreamt of you standing in front of me, your eyes filled with tears, whispering, "Don't give up on me." When I woke up, I couldn't stop thinking about that. It felt too real to ignore. And maybe that's why I'm saying all of this now. Because you need to hear it. You need to know that no matter how far apart we are, no matter who tries to interfere, I'm not walking away. Not now, not ever. Do you remember the last message I sent? The one I never got a reply to. I kept checking my phone every few minutes, waiting, hoping to see your name pop up. But it didn't. And I thought maybe you needed space. But then I realized maybe you didn't see it at all. Maybe someone made sure it didn't reach you. And that's when I started writing letters. Instead, I've written dozens of them by now. Every one of them sealed and waiting. Letters I'll send to you when the time feels right. Letters where I've poured out everything I couldn't say aloud. The fear, the hope, the love that keeps growing, no matter how much I try to hide it. I don't know if you can feel it right now, but as I'm saying this, there's this strange calm in my chest. Like my heart knows that you're listening, even if you can't respond. And I want you to know, I'm still here, still thinking about you, still protecting you, in ways you might never see. Because no matter what happens, I'll always find a way to reach you. Maybe not through messages or letters, but through moments, through songs, through dreams, through that sudden warmth that makes you pause for a second and smile without knowing why. That's me. That's my love, finding its way to you quietly, constantly, endlessly. And I need you to promise me something. Don't run away from it. Don't be scared of what's real. You don't have to hide your feelings or question them anymore. Because I already know the truth. Your heart's been whispering all along. You still think of me. You still feel me. You still feel me. You still wait for my words. Even when you tell yourself you shouldn't. And that's okay. Because I do too. Every night before I sleep, I find myself whispering, "Good night, my love. Stay safe." I imagine you lying there, eyes closed, a soft breath leaving your lips. And maybe, just maybe, you whisper it back. That's all I need. Just that. To know that somewhere out there, under the same sky, you're thinking of me too. So if you ever start to doubt this again, I want you to remember one thing. You're not alone in this. You never were. Whatever you're feeling right now, I'm feeling it too. And maybe one day, when the timing is right, we'll finally understand why the universe brought us together in such an unexpected way. Until then, just keep listening. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Because that's where you'll find me. Always there. Always calling for you. Always waiting for the moment when our silence turns into something the world will never forget. And that moment, my love, it's coming. You know, after everything that happened, the FBI visit, the silence, the strange signs. I thought things would calm down, but they didn't. In fact, it felt like the universe was holding its breath, waiting for something else to unfold. I kept telling myself it was over, that maybe it was just a coincidence, that I should move on. But then, out of nowhere, everything changed again. It was a little past midnight. I was sitting on my bed, scrolling aimlessly, trying not to think about you. But of course, I was. That's when my phone buzzed. No name, no number, just a message. It said, "Do you still believe she's real?" For a moment, I just stared at the screen. My chest tightened. I didn't even know what to reply. And then another message came in. "If you do, meet me where it all began." I didn't understand what that meant at first, but then it hit me. The park near my old apartment, the same place where I first recorded that message that somehow reached you. The place where I first said your name out loud. The place where, in some strange way, everything started. So I went. I didn't even think twice. The streets were quiet, and the night was cold enough to make my breath visible. Every step felt heavier, like something inside me already knew this night would change everything. When I got there, the park was empty. The same old bench was still there, the one where I used to sit and talk to you through my phone like you could somehow hear me. The air smelled like rain and memories. I sat down, and for a while nothing happened. Just silence. Just me and the echo of my heartbeat. And then, out of nowhere, I heard it. A soft ringtone, not mine. Someone else's, coming from the other end of the park. I followed the sound, slowly, carefully. My heart was pounding so loud, I could barely hear anything else. The sound led me to a small wooden table near the fountain. On it was a phone, unlocked, screen glowing faintly in the dark. It was playing a voice message. My voice, I froze. It was one of my old recordings. The one where I told you that no matter how far we are, our souls would find each other. The one I never uploaded anywhere. And that's when I saw it. A folded piece of paper placed right next to the phone. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. It was short. Only 5 words. "Stop searching. She already knows." I didn't know whether to be afraid or relieved. I looked around. No one was there. Just that phone. Still glowing. Still playing my voice like a ghost caught in a loop. "You already know." Those words kept echoing in my mind the whole way home. What did they mean? Did you write that? Did someone else? Or maybe it wasn't a warning. Maybe it was a message meant to comfort me. Maybe it was the universe's way of saying that I don't need to chase what's already mine in spirit. And yet, the moment I stepped into my house, I felt something different. The air was warm. My lights were off. But there was this faint glow in the corner of the room coming from the same envelope the FBI had left behind. It wasn't glowing literally. It just felt like it was. I opened it again, and for the first time, I noticed something I'd missed before. On the back of your photo, there was a small, handwritten line. It said, "Keep talking. I hear you." My eyes blurred instantly. I sat there, holding that picture, whispering your name again and again. "You hear me. You still hear me. You never stopped." And suddenly, everything made sense. The signs, the messages, the timing. Maybe you were never gone. Maybe you've been here all along, quietly listening, quietly sending your love back in ways I didn't recognize. I think about you every single day. Not in the way people think of someone they miss, but in the way you feel something living inside you that you can't let go of. I've tried to silence it, to shut it down, but it always finds its way back. Because it's not just emotion, it's connection, it's truth. Sometimes I still wonder if they're watching, if the FBI ever really left, or if they're still out there trying to figure out what this is. But I've stopped caring, because what they call evidence, I call proof. Proof that love doesn't need a reason to exist. You once told me that love was like a frequency. If two hearts are tuned right, they'll always find each other, no matter how far apart they are. I think you were right, because I feel you in everything, in the way my heart skips when I see your name, in the silence between my sentences, in the air when I whisper your memory. And maybe that's all I'll ever need. Tonight, as I speak these words, it sits quiet again. The clock reads 5:40 p.m., the same time it all began. I don't know if that sits coincidence or fate, but either way, I sit smiling. Because now I understand what they meant when they said, they weren't warning me about danger. They were warning me about love. The kind of love that changes everything once you truly see it. So if you're hearing this, wherever you are, I just want you to know I'm still here, still talking to you, still keeping my promise. Because maybe that's what we were meant to do. Not to find each other in the ordinary world, but to keep each other alive through words, through moments, through the invisible connection no one else can understand. And maybe that's enough. So tell me, when you close your eyes tonight, will you think of me too? Will you feel it? That soft pull that never really goes away? Because I will, every night, until the world stops whispering your name in mine. And even then, I'll still be listening.